I'm an African Indian gay doctor. I just wanted to make the point. It's interesting actually looking around the room at there seems predominantly to be a black group and a white group, and I think it's interesting that there aren't that many Indians or Far Eastern or other sort of cultures from around the world represented here who are probably quite similarly feeling that the issues that we're talking about today. What spurred me to come up here was actually this thing about asking the African people, the LGBT community there, what it is that they need and want, and listening to their issues. And I struggled to get any of my friends to come here today. I invited about 10, 20 people saying this is a real issue, and not one came. In fact, they very, very rarely go on pride marches anymore. And what struck me is that we need to actually play on the fact that we actually all do love, you know, men if we're men, or women if we're women, and these are really what unifies us. And for me, that should be what you need to play on. Now, the reason I came up here is, as a doctor, I have to ask my patients often whether they have same-sex relationships, sexual relationships, so that I can address things like HIV that you've just mentioned. And I teach doctors, I train doctors, and I'm told that's very, very difficult to ask a black person or an Indian person. It's harder than the white person, say. Now, I think that's very interesting, and I felt it myself. And when I'm about to ask a black person, you know, are you having sex, is that with a man or a woman? I start stammering. I slightly, you know, my throat closes up, and I'm nervous asking that, because I just don't know how it might be received. Now, I do it, and I live with that, and I think I'm getting better at it, but many of my colleagues don't do it so well. And then, I've had instances where a person's come back at me and said, no, I'm not one of them, you know, are you crazy? You know, I get really very vocal, vociferous responses. And what do? Well, I keep quiet. I've once or twice even apologised to pacify the patient. And what was that about? Why am I apologising? That you need to treat everyone the same. And it's perfectly legitimate to ask someone if they're gay. And yet this is something we all do. I'm talking about my profession, I'm a doctor, but you know, we do it. We do it all the time in our spheres of life. And if we can't get that right here, for our black community here, for whatever community, minority communities here, then we really have a long way to go. And that's what I just wanted to say. It's about role modelling. It's what you said. It's about role modelling. And if we don't have more people of, you know, from the ethnic minorities actually standing up and being role models, then it's very hard for us to then, you know, say it's okay if you're black and you're gay to my patients, for example. And I need more role models out there so I can point to young people and say, it's okay, there are other people out there.
I think my human rights are your human rights, and your human rights are my human rights. It doesn't matter whether you're white, whether you're black, whether you're African, whether you're a child, whether you're a man. It doesn't matter what language you speak or what language you don't speak. You know, every human rights are everyone's human rights. So I think anyone and everyone can be an ally. You know, you don't have to be gay to believe in my human rights, because my human rights should also be your human rights, whether you're straight or gay. And then in terms of an impact, people are also forgetting the positive impact this issue in Uganda is also having. It's also bringing awareness to what's really happening in Africa. This is the time that we need to bring forward the gay movement, that us as Africans need to stand up and fight. Because I think I am sick and tired of being told that I'm gay and I'm African. And I'm sick and tired of being silent. This is the time that we actually need to speak up and fight for our rights.
I'm Phil Hope-Ujima. I'm co-founder of UK Black Pride. Firstly, we definitely are allies, and I welcome you into my family, not just because you're gorgeous and good looking. My heart is good, so I'm not going to go there too much. I'm restraining myself. Okay. So yes, we do need allies, but I think it goes back to we have to remember that when somebody is speaking on our behalf, in making sure that you have consulted with them so they know exactly what it is you want. Yeah? I don't want somebody to say to me, oh, because you're a black woman that loves other women, you know, we need to make sure we get goods and services for you. That's got to happen, but make sure I'm the one that wants it. Make sure I'm the one that wants to be happy when I walk into a hotel room that they're accepting me with my partner. But anyways, I digress, because Gay Africa, that was the question that I really wanted to answer. And I think that many of us had different experiences and things that will say to us, Gay Africa to me actually means happy, means having a collective voice, means bringing us together, because Africa is where I'm from and Africa is who I am. I see it as, yes, there's a struggle to be had, and yes, there's a fight to be had, and yes, human rights are important and we need to get that, but we can only do that together with that collective voice. Now, the reason why I believe I'm so active, and it goes into the question you asked about impact, my experiences have been one which may be very different. We have people here who either embrace a particular sort of identity, one who's very masculine, one who's very feminine, but my experiences was I conformed to what society wanted, and I've done the whole, you know, wanting to get married because that's what my parents wanted. I came from a very religious background. I was a crap wife, by the way. And, you know, we talk about that freedom of speech, and you mentioned about using that European passport. Well, I was here, and I didn't have that freedom of speech, because when I came out, and I came out to my children's father, it was one of, I was put through the wall, I was beaten to a pulp, I felt I was tortured and persecuted. So that is why I have that understanding that my brother or my sister who is back home in Ghana, Nigeria, Malawi, Uganda, I need to be that voice for them here, but also asking them what they want, because I know what it feels like to not be free to be who you want to be, but also in this country. So I think that, you know, starts grassroots. Let's try and sort out our own back garden, as well as making sure that our families back home are able to come out and speak about their experiences. But the impact, yes, there's a rise in terms of immigration, and I've just left a job in law and justice, so I've seen the rise in immigration. At this current moment, I'm currently supporting many women who have fled from the Caribbean, Jamaica in particular, and also Nigeria. I'm constantly writing statements, and they are being told, no, we cannot grant your asylum because you've got children, we don't believe that you're gay. But just going back to, in terms of my own experiences, this is why I believe that me and the other co-founder at the time started UK Black Pride, was to have a sense of pride, and it's about embracing everyone's differences. But there was a gentleman that made the comment about treating everyone the same. You can't do that. You know, in order to treat somebody fairly, you have to treat them differently, but dependent on their diverse needs. You know, you're a man, Jide, I'm a woman, and I love women, and I know that you love men. Not that I'm promoting, you know. I'm not so I have to keep on remembering that. But you have to treat people differently. And we've got to remember, diversity doesn't bring about equality. Equality brings about diversity. So, you know, let's all stick together with those allies. I'm coming to you. I'll just speak later. And I think that's where we start. Yeah. So thank you.